CBS Sports HQ, we are jumping on the coaching carousel in the NFL. 6 openings as of now. Jury's still out on the Cowboys. Who knows what happens with maybe even a couple of playoff teams as well. But right now, 6 openings, and we're going to start with the New England Patriots as we welcome in our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. Mike Vrabel interviewing with the Patriots today. What are you hearing about maybe how quickly this thing could move, given that he might be their #1 guy?
Yeah, might be, probably is their #1 overall candidate here in New England, where I am stationed and positioned on Mike Vrabel watch. No, I live here, but folks around here are on Mike Vrabel watch. And look, he is meeting with the team in person. You know, that's one of the advantages for him not being currently employed by another team, is he can do these interviews in person, whereas someone like Ben Johnson, who is going to be interviewing with the Patriots tomorrow, he is someone who he has to interview virtually. So that is a huge advantage for Vrabel. He's in the Patriots Hall of Fame, of course, and a lot of people believe that he ultimately is going to get this job. He very well may get this job, but in the fact that they're going to be interviewing Ben Johnson, he could make a run at it. They do have a request put in for Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator. We'll see if ultimately he accepts that request. There are folks around the league who believe that Mike Vrabel will be the coach of the Patriots by the end of the weekend. That could happen. If it does happen, I would anticipate that Josh McDaniels, the former Patriots offensive coordinator, would become the new Patriots offensive coordinator with Vrabel. I don't think that wherever Vrabel goes, Josh McDaniels would be his offensive coordinator, but it works in New England, right, where there's familiarity, there's location, there's salary, because Mark Davis of the Raiders still paying Josh McDaniels. But if Mike Vrabel were to go to, say, oh, I don't know, the Raiders, yeah, Josh McDaniels would not be his offensive coordinator there.
Speaking of the Raiders, that's the latest job to open earlier on this week. They're interviewing Robert Saleh. What kind of role, though, is Tom Brady expected to play in all this as a minority owner?
Yeah, it's a huge role, and that's what Mark Davis told me to my face when I was talking with him with a group of reporters last month during the league meetings, that that Tom Brady is going to have a big say. Look, Mark Davis has failed as an owner. If you're judged on wins and losses, if you're judged on who you hire and who you fire, he has failed as an owner since taking over stewardship of this organization from his late father, Al Davis. And so if you're Mark Davis, if you are a logical, reasonable person, you say, boy, I've been really bad at this the last decade plus. Maybe there's somebody else who could be better. Maybe Tom Brady, who just bought in at about 5% of the team. Maybe he's the guy who can help me with this, who should be sort of taking the lead on this. And so Brady will have a huge say in the direction of the franchise, certainly when it comes to quarterback, but also, of course, who the next head coach will be. Now, how that interacts or potentially conflicts with his television broadcasting gig over the next 4.5 weeks or so, that's to be determined. There's no doubt about that. And I don't really know how the Raiders and Tom are going to work through that. But Brady will have a say, a significant say, and whomever the Raiders ultimately select, make no mistake about it, that person will have been approved by Tom Brady.
Vegas was the 6th head coaching job to open. If there's a 7th, could be in Dallas, where Mike McCarthy's status is still up in the air. But what does Dallas's blocking of his would-be interview with the Bears tell you about his future?
It doesn't tell me too much, right? That could just be Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones, right? Hey, I have this man under contract. He remains under contract until the early part of next week. And so while he's under contract with me, you don't get to talk to another team. It could be as simple as that. But Jerry, of course, there's always leverage at play here. I have not gotten word from any other team that they are going to request to interview Mike McCarthy. May there be some interest if after his contract expires next week that a team asks Mike, hey, you want to come in for an interview? That is possible. I'm not sure we're going to get to that point, though, Chris. I mean, I'll be honest, there's a lot of optimism that I'm hearing out of Dallas that Mike McCarthy could wind up signing a new deal with the Dallas Cowboys. And I would say over these next couple days, it will be crucial. It will be critical because the Cowboys would lose their leverage with Mike McCarthy once he becomes a free agent and has the ability to talk to other teams. And so there are folks around the league who believe that a reunion, if you will, a staying together, will certainly take place here between Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys.
Coming up on almost a year now since the Falcons hired Raheem Morris, and he's expected to stay in place there. We heard from their GM, Terry Fontenot, today talking about one of their players, their highest paid player in Kirk Cousins, and Fontenot said that they're comfortable with Cousins staying on as a backup next season, but he's got a cap hit of $40 million. What's behind the Falcons putting that out there publicly today?
Yeah, Chris, this is what we were trying to tell folks a couple of weeks ago when there was a report out there that the Falcons are absolutely, definitely, no question about it, going to be cutting Kirk Cousins. And then some team can go pick him up on the veteran minimum, a la what happened with Russell Wilson from Denver last year and then signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That could happen. In fact, that is the leading candidate to happen. That doesn't mean that it will happen. And so what the Falcons are doing, and you're right about the massive cap hit, the fact is, it's going to be the cap hit next year no matter what. They signed him to that contract when they picked him up in free agency, but it was essentially a 2-year deal anyway. They owe him that money. It's not going anywhere. The cap hit's not going anywhere. And so the Falcons are essentially saying, well, we already owe you this. The only sort of other financial obligation in keeping Kirk Cousins after the start of the league year is another $10 million in 2026, when the salary cap could be somewhere close to $300 million. They are saying, we have Michael Penix Jr. He is our future. You always need a backup quarterback. We like Kirk. We want Kirk around. We're already paying Kirk for 2025. Why would we cut a backup quarterback that we're already paying? For what? Now, a lot of folks around the league would say you don't want to play hardball, that this is a relationship business, that you want to keep those relationships close with a player, his agency. You want to be viewed as a nice place to play for free agents and not somewhere that will hold a player hostage if it ultimately doesn't work out. All that is true, and all of that may very well contribute to the Falcons ultimately releasing Kirk Cousins. But can they keep him as a backup? They absolutely can. And the fact is that they are saying it privately, they're saying it publicly, and they are saying to anyone around the league, if you want Kirk Cousins next year, you better trade for him, and we better get something in return, because we're not just going to cut him loose so that you can pay him pennies on the dollar to have potentially your week 1 starting quarterback.
Really busy time of year with teams not making the playoffs, trying to make decisions for next year, and head coaches and GMs and all that. And of course, Wild Card Weekend kicks off Saturday on CBS with the Chargers and Texans, and it wraps up Monday night, JJ, with the Vikings at the Rams in Inglewood, just outside Los Angeles. Give us the latest on the contingency plan that the NFL has with, of course, the fires going on all over that area.
Yeah, so Wednesday night, the league released a statement saying, honestly, this was actually a little bit shocking, explaining what their contingency plan is, that they would play this game on Monday night at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, the home of the Arizona Cardinals. I say it's a little bit surprising because the NFL has contingency plans for all games, regular season, certainly in the postseason. But very, very rarely do they share those plans, and almost never do they share their plans as early as they did this week. And so that speaks to the seriousness, of course, of the situation in Los Angeles. And of course, our thoughts and prayers to everyone there who is involved, who are touched by what's going on there. But the NFL is keeping a very close watch on this. I will tell you without a doubt, the league wants this game to be played at SoFi Stadium in LA. Without a doubt, the Los Angeles Rams want to play this game at SoFi Stadium. But the fires that have been raging there, that are the most destructive in Los Angeles city history, according to the Associated Press, that have already claimed the lives of multiple people, the fires will dictate whether this game can be played. And the other thing that I would say to this, Chris, is even if some of it is contained, even if hopefully, prayerfully, we get to a spot where this gets better there. There is an optics situation with the NFL where you are drawing resources, police, ambulance, potentially fire. You are drawing resources away from where they are needed in the Los Angeles area to be at SoFi Stadium for Monday afternoon into the evening. That may not be what the NFL wants. We certainly will see. I've been told it's a day-to-day situation for the league.
All right, Jonathan Jones, our lead NFL insider here with the latest as we head into Wild Card Weekend with 2 games on CBS. The first Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time between the Chargers and Texans. That's in Houston. And then on Sunday, we're in Buffalo for a 1 o'clock Eastern Time kick between the Bills and rookie Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.